Find yourself a booth, order up a cold one. This is the Spring Bar.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Spring Bar. Glad to have you here. I am Florida Mike, and today we're bringing you another great episode in our ongoing Bulova series. With that, we have a new face on screen, and this is a conversation that has been a long overdue. I'm very excited to welcome to the show TJ Harris, who is Director of Brand Communications for Bulova Watch Company. We'll get into who he is and what he does in just a little bit, as well as talking about the recent kickoff to Bulova's 150th anniversary celebration, that and a whole lot more. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Joe in the OC. Joe, TJ, how you guys doing today?
Greetings.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for showing up, man. It's been a minute. Like, we have communicated in a variety of different ways, but finally there's a voice that goes along with all of the typing that I've seen in the past. So it's fantastic. It's fantastic to have you on.
If there's anybody harder to nail down than Richard Calamaris, it's got to be TJ Harris.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, busy guy. Let's kick it off. Wrist and drink checks. TJ, you're our guest of honor. Tell us what you're wearing on the wrist. Tell us what you're drinking.
Absolutely. So I've got a fresh pour of Hudson whiskey.
There you go.
Of Accutron.
Is that's a perk of the job?
No, well, perhaps, but Bright Lights Big Bourbon. Hudson whiskey is a partnership that we have with the Accutron brand. It's really a neat partnership, a New York-based brand. We do a lot of different things with them on the marketing and PR side. Also have something upcoming or just released, depending on when this podcast episode comes out, but a collaboration piece with Hudson whiskey, and just a wonderful partner of the brand. So happy to have a nice pour from them. And wrist check, I have my 1984 Super Seville on. It is it is one of my favorite pieces to wear. It's just like a very unique TV dial Super Seville. So
what color is that?
it is blue.
Blue. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yep, I can see now. That's nice. That's real nice.
It is really nice.
Yeah. Joe, what you got?
I am drinking a California sparkling wine because you're supposed to have the Alka-Seltzer when you're hungover, and I don't have any Alka-Seltzer, so it's not quite hair of the dog, but it'll go. And I have on the GMT on steel.
Oh, you're back on the bracelet.
Yeah, I got it back on the bracelet because I like the bracelet. But
yeah, I like that on the bracelet.
It's you know what, it wears really well. The colors are a little bit different because of it, because like the bracelet's darker and it makes the dial pop. So that's what I got. What are you rocking, Mike?
I am also wearing my Super Seville Square. This is the green version. This is the new one. I'm not lucky enough to have an old one like TJ is. We're going to get into a little bit too why this watch is so important to our guest today. But because Super Seville Social Club, I made myself a mojito. Sans the mint. I ran out of mint, but it's all the other goodness in here.
Wait. Okay. I'm a talented amateur when it comes to alcohol. I don't think I can call myself a professional, but my understanding of a mojito is that the mint is kind of a part of it.
I understand that. Yes.
So without the mint, what is it? It's just
it's a moji.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
that was wonderful.
Joe, kick things off. What are we doing here today?
We got TJ. TJ's here. And so part of the impetus to have you on is the fact that you are referred to in most of the conversations that we have with Mike. It was like, oh, just talk to TJ. Just ask TJ. TJ will take care of it. TJ. And TJ, what do you do? There's your title, which is director of what, brand communications, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's wonderful. And I'm sure that it plays well on Scrabble. But what do you actually do?
So, I mean, I know you guys are familiar. You've had Michael multiple times. You've had Patty and Donnell. So you're familiar that with Bulova and how we are really a New York based in the Empire State Building at Citizen Watch America's headquarters. We work on the brand and all kind of put a lot into the brand there. And I've been with Bulova for about 2.5 years now, a little bit over that. And I was brought in to work on social and PR, and I just kind of dove headfirst into everything. And everything as far as working in the marketing part of department, working with Patty, who I know she's been on the show, but is like such an amazing person and been with the brand and has like taken care of the brand for such a long time. Um, I hand
I do have to say that anytime I see her show up in any of the advertisements or in any of the things that get posted on social media, I'm always just so thrilled to see that Patty has got
best.
another moment. I love seeing her smiling face. I think it's so great.
Yeah, no, Patty's the best. And obviously Michael as our brand director and so many years in the industry. He's just an amazing person just to be the brand director of the brand of Bulova and Accutron. So I'm just kind of doing everything I can possibly do to one, dive into the heritage and history of Bulova, make and finding a way for these stories that we're telling to continue to be amplified so that people can know and learn about this brand. I guess that's probably the best way to sum up what I try to do each and every day.
So do
Okay.
you operate the socials?
No, no, no. I work with a team. We do have someone else that does work on the social. When I first came in, I was working a little bit more hands-on with the social, but we have other people that work with our department as well now that handle the social and are very hands-on with Patty, myself, Michael, and the agencies that work on the social as well. That's Sarah, which she might be somebody on your show later in time, but
There it is. I'll make a note.
we
Reach out to Sarah.
yeah, no, no, but I definitely have a influence and kind of I work I have an opinion on things and that go in social. So I guess that also comes from enjoying watches and the marketing of watches as a whole. So like just that perspective that I can often bring, so kind of helps us on the Bulova side as well.
So what exactly is your background? Prior to you, so you've been with the company for 2 years. What
Yeah.
run us through your CV?
Um, so my background is primarily in marketing. I've worked in sports marketing prior to. I've worked in medical device marketing and even a little bit more junior, like consumer electronics and apparel marketing. All of that is something that I just kind of like pride myself in and like working in different industries, always diving in and really enjoying the process of marketing as well as like the storytelling of different brands. And about 2.5 years ago, I found myself applying to a position at Citizen Watch America and really just saying that, wow, this is really neat. I don't even think I knew how much I enjoyed watches at that time. I had always liked watches, but I didn't know that I was as much of a watch guy as I really was. And, it's like one of those things, I don't know, I guess you don't call yourself a watch guy, you just kind of end up being one. And
Right.
working at a watch brand or working at a watch brand, you kind of find yourself saying, "Oh wow, I guess I really was a watch guy."
So talk me through though. So you've done marketing in a variety of how is what you're doing right now different from say medical device? What is it that you're really looking for and that you're really trying to promote?
It's different, but I think working at brands like Bulova and Accutron that have so much history and heritage, that makes it a little bit different than anything else. A brand like Bulova has so many stories, like iconic moments, that separate it from the other brands that are in the industry. The thing about that makes it the same as something like medical devices is I didn't have a medical device background when I started marketing in that industry. So I found myself having to learn a lot of the intricacies of the product, the industry, the complexities, the language, and that was something that I was really proud of, like kind of not having that background and understanding and digesting all of it and finding ways to make it digestible for other people. I think those same amount of complexities, if not more, exist for watches. I think as you guys know, being watch guys, it's not just a consumer product. There's a lot that separates being a watch brand from just a timepiece in a cabinet for that other brands are offering.
So for you, marketing is your industry, and it's a lot of just plug and playing the product into the knowledge base that you have, for marketing. When you came to Bulova, and a lot of people say, you have to enjoy what you do, otherwise it's work. And if you enjoy what you do, then you appreciate it more, and it's not so bad to go in and day out. When you went to Bulova, do you find yourself getting more passionate about what you're doing in the product? Because I feel like it's a little difficult to be passionate about medical devices and marketing medical devices, but something like this, where watches embody so much, they tell so much of a story, and all the stories are very individual and personal. Like, are you becoming more passionate with this particular product than you have in other stuff that you've done?
So I think for me, like I ask myself this sometimes, because being passionate is one thing, but being able to prioritize what you can do, like we all have a limit on the amount that we can do, being, the hours in a day or or the amount of time that you can spend doing things. I think I definitely have a passion for marketing. I enjoy I enjoy learning and figuring out how people are thinking and taking in the information that you're putting out in front of them. And I think I have a strong passion for that. So even if it's medical devices or whatever it is, I'm probably going to be able to have a strong passion for. I'd have a strong passion, or have had strong passions for, like the marketing aspect of different things. When it comes to watches, to answer your question, yes, I do find myself going down more rabbit holes and finding different ways to extend myself, to come up with new ideas and find new understandings for things that I might not even have enough time to do in an 8-hour day. And that's something that I still enjoy. I do say to myself sometimes, like, this is a great idea. How am I going to get it done? But I'll figure that out,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Well, okay. I know a little bit about your collection, but what else do you have? So you've got this vintage Super Seville, which, let's be honest, in terms of Bulova and Bulova history, that's a deep cut. That's not, you don't see those that often, particularly not the square shape.
But not the square, yeah.
Right. So that's deep. What else do you got?
I've got a few pieces that were, gifted to me at different moments in my life, maybe from a couple of other brands. But when I started working at Bulova, I did buy a couple of other pieces, because I said, hey, I didn't know about this. And a couple, maybe like the Dior pieces from the Bulova archives that were
Mhm.
the dials are stamped Bulova and Dior. And I purchased them, to be honest, just kind of like, oh, this is kind of neat. I think these are really neat collector's pieces that nobody knows about. And if I do my job right, then people will start knowing about them in a year or two. And I found some really neat pieces, and it's funny because they came and I opened them in the mail, and and my wife was like, yeah, I think I'll keep this. And I was like, oh.
Exactly.
And she really enjoyed those, and she liked them, and she wears them. So I mean, there's a couple of pieces that I have like that, but I kind of like I like those I like the pieces that not so many people know or will, and hope that they will know about soon.
Well, I like hearing just the fact that like, you have that gives you immediate watch guy cred because, I got it in the mail and I had to open it up, and which is something that Mike and I know about
Right.
intimately, but so does probably everybody in our audience for a great amount of time. There's like, okay, it came in the mail, and there's that moment, and it's sort of like Schrodinger's watch almost. It's like, is it or is it not exactly what I would, because there were the pictures and I know what I think I bought, but what I actually get is either, equal plus or minus in terms of
Right.
what it's going to end up being. And that's always a fun moment. It's like, okay, this is
Sure.
this is worse than I thought it was going to be. This is this was a bad purchase, or somebody didn't know what they had and now I have it and I'm way better off. So,
But working kind of in social and working in the marketing side of things, I think that gives gives me a little bit more of a discerning eye, where when I see pictures online, I kind of know what I'm going to get, or if it's going to live up to those expectations based on the pictures. Because, generally speaking, amateur pictures or something that's on like eBay, I can look right through it and know exactly what
You
I
can
would be
look
looking.
past it and see it.
yeah,
Sometimes you get the really blurry, blown out pictures on somebody's kitchen table, and you
Yeah.
just kind of cross your fingers and hope when it shows up that it's better than what it looks.
I mean, there's been stuff that I bought that there was a Sky Star. So Bulova Sky
Mhm.
Star, which is a
Oh man, that's
GM.
going back for
Oh, it
years.
is, but it's
Yeah.
a GMT bezel on it, and there were three colors. There was a black, a white, and an orange. And the pictures were so bad on this one, I couldn't tell if it was orange or if it was white, just because it was so blown out. And also, like, the bezels on those suckers faded really, really bad, so it was really hard to do any kind of gradation. It was really an issue. Like, you remember the dress? Was it black and blue or gold and white? Right?
Depending on
Yeah,
how you look
right.
at it. Yeah.
Which
Well,
my wife actually owns that dress. I'm just saying.
I would equate that more to like the Cracker Jack toy. You just don't really know what you're going to get until you actually open it up.
Yeah, I think I will go back a little bit on what I said, because there is a watch that I'm looking at right now, and I'm like, I can't tell if that dial is damaged or there's bad photography, and I'm really like on the fence about it.
It is something. It is
Is
something.
it damage or patina?
Oh,
No, but the spotting on it makes me say, like, it's not damaged, but it's still, I'm having a hard time determining if I still think it's worth it. But I, I'm not telling you guys on the podcast, but maybe after we're done, I'll tell you about
there we go.
So
Inside scoop. Perfect.
how many? Because I'm just curious personally, how many watches are in your collection?
Hang on. Whoa.
Like, are you a
Whoa.
watch collector? Because you have quite a sneaker collection behind you.
Now, hang on. It's kind of a rude question to ask a man how many watches, particularly on something that's going to be broadcast, because his wife may not know. So let's be.
No, I don't know the exact count. The sneaker collection is I've been forced to count and reduce, but the watch, yeah, the watch collection, I don't really know. To be honest, I have a pretty faithful rotation between a Mill Ships, the Super Seville, a new Super Seville, and a Caravelle, which I like to wear a lot. Though that's my pretty faithful rotation that I enjoy. I mean, I have I obviously I'm biased in my collection because of where I go most of the week, and which office I step foot into. So they do come from that from there. But I'm good. I'm good with them.
Okay, what Caravelle is it?
I was going to
Um,
ask that.
well, it's this one. It's the
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that the
that
railroad?
right?
It's the railroad one,
It's
isn't it?
railroad, but
light.
it has an expansion bracelet,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
has like the not like and it glows. It has like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and that button up at 2 o'clock that you push.
You know how long I've been putting off buying that one?
Yeah,
So the thing is, I love this watch. I like the way it looks, and you know the expansion bracelet. Patty would make fun of me saying, I don't know what data she looked at in the target, like the audience that buys this watch, and said, you know, TJ has this watch, so like you know, she would make fun of me for it. And I was like, no, it's a good looking watch, but I honestly, it's one of my favorites to wear.
Well, you just
okay.
got to remind Patty that Caravel was a drugstore brand. So,
And you can also remind Patty that but we both like that watch.
Exactly.
So
you know what? You know what, Joe?
Tomorrow.
Joe, I feel like you and I both have to go buy that now.
we have to go buy that watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll show Patty.
You
We
guys-
got you, TJ.
For
We got this.
You get the silver and you can get the gold. There's
Perfect.
gold tone and the silver tone, so you don't have to have the exact same watch. But I think it's a great watch.
I like the gold tone. Yeah, I think that's pretty
See,
cool.
I knew you were going there too. It's a Miami thing.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it.
Miami thing. Oh gosh. Oh, so you are fairly heavily involved in collaborations with other names, other brands, things like that.
Hudson whiskey.
Oh, that was there before me. That was there before me.
I've seen you involved in Complecto stuff. I know the brand does work with Red Bar and more recently with Alex Asfor and a lot of the illustrations and things. Like, do you have hands in all these different projects that are going on? And if you do, like, what's your influence on this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I do. I think collaborations are a really unique way where from a marketing standpoint, you can expand your audience, also connect even closer with your audience, and I've been fortunate enough to kind of foster some real authentic collaborations and relationships with some of these partners. If like Complecto was started around the same time when I started with the company, and I connected with the founder of Complecto, and really took a liking to the pillars of his founding of the group, the enthusiast community that he was building. And we've been able to continue to grow, and Jason Gong is the founder of Complecto. He's continuously grown his following, his enthusiast group, and I've been just like we've been able to find different ways to work together. We launched a collaboration piece last year with the Jetstar, which I thought was an amazing piece, and I wanted more and more people to know about it. And his collaboration piece was a way to put that in front of a lot of people in the enthusiast community. We have a couple of things planned for later this year and hopefully in the future as well that we're both really excited about, that I think people will be surprised and excited about as well. I know you mentioned Alex Asfor, who is a amazing artist who I've been fortunate to work with, and actually, like, I think I don't know, he did the 150th poster for the movie.
Yeah.
So this was something that was really neat that he did, and
and he did the other image as well, the one that's just like the exploded watch face almost.
He did that one. He's done a number of images. I think I have them. So at the end of last year, well, I'll back up a little bit. Maybe this gets a little long, but on one of the times that I went to Europe, I was at a print shop in Paris, and I purchased these pieces of artwork. For different cities, and for different cities that my wife and I had been to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I was moving, and I came across the prints that I had. They were still wrapped up, and I said, these are really neat. And I reached out to them and connected, and this was at the end of last year or the middle of last year or so. And I said, I have this idea where I'd love to create some pieces of artwork for the watches that we released last year, the brand release. And we connected, and I think he got my vision, and those were the pieces that he made.
Oh, 100% he got your vision.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got those, and they're
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
They're so
he did
good.
all of these. And I thought we had an amazing year of releases last year between the Jetstar, the Rat Pack, um,
The new lunar pilots.
The
Yeah.
lunar pilots. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the Okada for GMT. So
Uh-huh.
this was like, I mean, I thought he nailed them all, and this is one of his vintage travel pieces that he put
Yep.
Mhm.
in it to BULO.
It's there. There it is.
Yeah, it's all in there.
Yeah.
But
So
a fun fact for our audience: hold the lunar pilot one up again if you have that handy, real quick. Um,
yes.
Patty was talking about those, and she said that you were very adamant that the floating pencil was in that photo.
I mean, I just it was authentic. I think that's like one of those things where you're like, it has to be authentic. And that's the way that the draft came. And I didn't want to limit the artist too much.
But
No,
yeah,
we love those. I absolutely love those.
those are fantastic pieces. He's done some of the what is the wind up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The artwork for that, the San Francisco and the Chicago one.
Yeah.
Those are if you visit his Instagram or his website, you'll see he has different, obviously the cities with that similar aesthetic. But what we did was we customized 3 versions of them for one for each watch of a different city, and that was our surveyor. That's another release that we had this year that I thought was an amazing release, and we offered it in 3 different colors. So he customized them for each city, and
Yeah.
and those were existing artworks that he had, but they customized the colors for the city. And I thought that was really neat of him to do. And they have a case back for each city.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Like the custom case back for people who pick up the watch at that location. That's yeah. I mean, it's a great way. It seems that that's the kind of relationship though that benefits both. It benefits the artist as well as the brand. And we're going to raise everybody together, and that's always, like, to me, that always seems to be the real good basis for a collaboration, that both parties get just as much out of it.
I think so, and I hope to be able to kind of to raise him as well, his artwork as well. I think he does a great job. I think a lot of people are familiar with his artwork, from it pops up in different places, but it's like digital first. But I think he deserves a lot of credit for the stuff that he does.
And I think it's really cool because when you look back in Bulova's history, there's a lot of ad print that would go on, a lot of advertising, magazines, posters, things like that, which has kind of gone away in modern times. Everything's digital, everything's online. But to bring back a physical print artwork piece, something that you can frame and put on the wall again, that's really cool. And I think he's a great forward thinking artist that meshes really well with the brand and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that as well, because that is one of the things. It would be easier just to use his work as digital work, but one of the items that was in the gift bags at the premiere was this piece, and if you're wondering why it's wrapped up like this, it's because it's a high quality print that we made to sort of complement the work that he does put into creating these pieces for us. So that is something.
So a question, because everything that we've discussed so far that he's done has not been for public purchase. Will there be in the future something or an edition where people can actually get their hands on Bulova artwork?
There should be. I wouldn't put that past us. I'll keep you posted on that. That's something that we'll find. I've actually been a little bit protective of the artwork in a sense, because I know the printers that I get the gifts printed from and things like that, like the ones I sent to you. I know the printer, he does a really good job for me. So I want to make sure that it is done that way and not sort of printed in a way that doesn't live up to the quality of the artwork that I believe it is.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Okay. Marketing. I'm not in marketing. I'm a victim of marketing, but I am not in marketing. And so, like, you can start to appreciate how something works really well. It's like, okay, no, that's clever. Versus like, remember that thing, and it was about the thing, and you can't remember what the brand was. You can't remember anything about it, but Like the Wolves Attack the Marching Band. That was great. But I don't remember the brand.
It's got to have substance. It's got to be authentic, and it has to have substance and authenticity. I think that's often the most I think that the most telling thing. And somewhere along the way, brands often find their way losing one or the other, and without them both, it's not going to resonate, and it's not going to be compelling.
So let's talk about the Bulova 150, which launched on Thursday, right? There was the documentary premiere, but then we'll get to that because I want to talk about that specifically. But across all of the Bulova branded accounts on Instagram in particular, so you've got Bulova's account, you've got Bulova Mexico, Bulova Panama, Bulova, all of these other ones. Everybody's picked up the exact same branding. They picked up the exact same logo. They picked up a lot of the exact, and it seems to be a pretty solid marketing push. Is that your fault? Are we blaming you for this?
No, I think that's a headquarters thing. It's a Patty thing. Patty's been
Okay.
and I think rightfully so. I think that was one of the things that I thought we did really well. Not to pat ourselves on the back, but having the Bulova 150 logo consistently, the artwork from Alex in these different places, a consistent invitation. Obviously, the documentary, which is a really big deal, 150 years into a full feature film, was really neat. So yeah, it was it was deliberate, and that's from our headquarters here in New York City, right in the Empire State Building. So it is really neat what we're able to accomplish as a global brand.
So talk about that a little bit, because at the time this episode comes out, it will have been about a week and a half or so ago that the premiere was. Just looking at the pictures and the snippets of the videos and that, it looked like it was a fantastic evening. So I know you were there. Just kind of give the audience your point of view of what it was like being at that event, and the energy you felt, and the feedback that you got from a lot of people in attendance being at that event.
So for me, I think it's been a long time in the making, and I don't think I take for granted we work in an industry that is very crowded. There's a lot of brands and there's a lot of watches that are there. I work with a lot of people that get a lot of attention in the watch industry, like outside of our brand, outside of the company that I work with. I work with a lot of essentially influencers and influential people in watches. One of the things that I thought was very that meant a lot to me, or to see it come to fruition, is just everybody that a lot of the people I work with, a lot of people I communicate with, whether they are an influencer, whether we just have relationships and we communicate over direct messages on social media or text messages, but them coming to an event like that to celebrate 150 years of a brand, and being excited to be there. I think that's what meant a lot to me, and it becomes compelling to me that they're there to see the film, and for the first time. We've seen edits of it, we've seen cuts of it internally, we've had discussions about it, but to see everyone's enthusiasm to be there, it just means a lot. And we're in New York City, we're one of a lot of brands, but that people are that people came to see, and I mean people that a lot of other people respect their opinions on things like when it comes to watches. So it does hammer home, or just hammer home the sense of how significant of a brand it is that I work for, and how special it is a brand that when you see people that are that excited to be there.
It's got to be, it has to be gratifying, and it's also like, obviously Mike and I are fans, and we have been for a while. But yeah, the idea that there's other people that are kind of picking up on what on our thing, it's like, okay, finally we're getting a little bit of due. And speaking in a selfish fashion. It's like, okay, cool. Maybe the value of my watch collection will go up and I can retire. And that would be a positive. But we're not in this for the money.
It
So
is gratifying. Just so you said, it is gratifying. And I think that's what I get at. I'm appreciative of these people for coming and showing up and being there. At the same time, before I can express that appreciation, I'm feeling a lot of them expressing gratitude for being invited and being able to be there. And it's good to see that two-way street. I do what I do because I enjoy it. I also do what I do because it's my job. But when you have people that are there and taking a night, they could be doing anything in New York City to be there with us and to celebrate 150 years, to celebrate a milestone for the band and be excited about it. I'm grateful to them for being
But
there.
that's being there for a part of history. I mean, that was history right there. Like there will never be another 150th celebration again, and to do it in that fashion, in that way, I mean, that's something that you want to be there for. And for those that are lucky enough to be invited to that, I mean, yeah, you're going to go and you're going to take it in and you're going to enjoy that. And
yeah, I mean, you know that, I know that, and but like I don't ever take that for granted. Is like as I guess what I'm saying. I am appreciative to a lot of people for them to come and be there, and I felt it a lot in that evening on Thursday.
So can we talk a little bit about the documentary? Because how long did that take?
Hold on. I got a question for TJ. TJ was spotted. There was some watch spotting going on, and we saw a wrist shot of you that you had on a Bulova Royal Oak.
I did.
Inquiring minds want to know, is that your Royal Oak?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, man.
It's you guys aren't the only ones out there hunting and finding them out there. And I know who not to send them to when I'm eyeing them. So
TJ in the shadows,
sniping 1, 2, and
sniping out from underneath of us. Joe has one of those that's a project watch, but
it's a project.
Is one of my grail pieces. If I could ever one day, and I will at some point, I'll get one, but that's kind of my top tier Bulova watch to have.
I really like that one a lot. I think that some of those pieces that have that gravitas, and you know them, but they're also a play on the time and what the brand was doing. I think they're really neat. So I think that they have a special place for me. Just the same as a Super Seville, especially the square dial.
But also it wears so well, which I really wasn't expecting. And I got because mine's still in the works. I've been working on it for multiple years now. But I got to try. I knew another collector who had one. And I tried one. And it's like, it's so good. It wears so well. It fits good. Everything about it is the integrated bracelet. Kudos. Well done.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well,
Joe, you may proceed.
Oh, I can proceid. I can go on now.
Are you still talking 150? Because there's more 150 stuff to discuss.
We can talk. We still talk 150. I want to know, how long did the documentary take to produce? How long was that in the works?
Probably about 2 years. I mean, I think I want to say 2 years. It was probably in discussion for about 6 or 8 months into. Yeah, I would say about 2 years. It's been kind of the thing.
Just about as long as you've been there, basically.
Yeah, but like as Patty says, like I guess my years there are kind of like dog years. So if you went like 8 months after I'd been there, I was like almost there for a year already, and then like,
all right,
it's funny because at the same time there's like like I said, I mentioned Sarah before. Sarah was there for a week before we were just like treating her like she had been there for 4 months, and so.
All right.
So you guys did the New York one. You're going to do one in Miami coming up in a couple of months, and then another one out in LA at the very beginning of next year, I believe. Will you be in attendance at each of these individual events?
Pretty, yeah, I'll be there. I'll definitely be in Miami, LA, as long as nothing else is on the calendar. I always love the West Coast as well. So, yeah, it'll be LA. I think we are in this. We probably will do another one in October in New York, which will be more for the enthusiast crowd and with one of our partners as well. So keep your ears peeled for that one. That should be exciting also.
Mhm.
Nice. Nice.
And they'll be just as extravagant as New York, I would hope.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean,
if I'm
No,
dressed in
it's gonna be
Miami chic,
they've got a really big laptop and they're just gonna do it in a hotel room and everybody just kind of filters in. It's gonna be fine. It'll be fine. It's be a
yeah,
weekend.
I've got an iPad that we're gonna put it on. It's Miami. So there's no possible way Miami's not going to be like Miami.
yeah, yeah.
which is a statement. There's no possible way that Miami is not going to be Miami, which makes perfect sense.
It
I
does.
understand exactly what you mean, and I've never even been to Miami, and I still know what you're talking about.
Listen, I just want it known that I am always associated with Miami just because I live in Florida. I am not in Miami. I've never been to Miami. In the 14 years I've lived in this state, I've never even been there. So it's going to be an experience for me too.
He's already talking about the pink suit he's going to buy. It's fantastic.
Oh goodness. But what else is in store that you can talk about for the 150th celebration moving forward?
Um, there's a lot in store. I mean, like so. I guess to that point, we're here in September and we're kicking off our 150th, but our 150th is in 2025. So we have a full year and change to continue celebrating this. There's a lot in store. I know you asked what I can talk about. Not much right now, but there's a
Right.
lot exciting thing.
This is the thing that's so frustrating because we've talked with Michael about this a lot. The lead time is 18 months. So the watches that you guys are already planning and that have been designed, you've probably already seen them in the metal, you've held them, you've discussed the packaging, you know what the marketing campaign is going to be, you know what they are. You've seen them. You TJ, you have seen them and we have no idea what they are. Nobody has shared. There's been no breadcrumbs. We've got no little trickle. You guys are really tight-lipped about it. It's incredibly rude. I'm just gonna say it's and I'm personally offended, but that's okay because I also like the reveal because I too am a victim of marketing. So I'll take it. I'll take it. But damn it, man.
I get torn when it's things like that. Like sometimes I see you unboxing stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, I didn't tell him about that one yet." And there are times I see things, but I or talking about it, but I think that I think that it would be unfair to rob you of that surprise to take that away from you.
Okay, no, I don't disagree with you on that. However, I'm gonna talk a little bit about quality control. Social media quality control, and it has to do with couture in Vegas because there is a number of people that go to the Vegas thing and they start posting images that I am certain are embargoed, and
they are
absolutely embargoed, and we are searching through that, and you it's a screenshot of a video and then you zoom in, it's like, wait, that's red, what the, and then you start to have that discussion too. And so then we're sending screenshots to all these other people, and he's like, hey, what
and
about?
then right away Joe's sending stuff to Michael.
Oh, always. Like, all right, I seen it. You got to tell me now. And it was this watch. It was this watch that showed up, and it was a couture shot. And I talked about having like a white dial version of the Oceanographer, and Michael, it didn't click in his head because it's loom, so it's not white. It's like, no, but that's white. Oh,
Well, I'll tell you the other side of it is that work in marketing. I work in marketing, or like at the parts where like I'm debuting things on our social media channel, and I'm looking, or I'm monitoring social media for what people are saying about certain things, and then sometimes people post like, oh, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about the lunar pilot. And I'm just thinking, I launched it on our Instagram channel. Like, what are these people talking about? Or like, some of the Facebook and
Oh
like,
God,
and
yeah, yeah. Like
and people are
when
like
did this watch
oblivious
come
to
out?
it.
It's like 4 years ago. It came
Yeah,
out
so
4 years ago.
there are times in that where I think like I wish that people were a little bit more in tune with like with seeing things, but at the same time, it is like, the other side of what you're saying is, you have guys like you that are really in tune with it, but then you have the other people that are friends of the brand or fans of the brand, and they aren't even looking at the places that they should be to know about the product that came out.
It's always interesting because I think that Mike and I are probably more hyper in tune than lots of other people that are involved, and as as fans of the brand. But I'm active more on the forums. I know Mike doesn't do much there, and every once in a while there's some weird trickles that come out, and somebody's like, I just discovered the such and such. It's like the Accutron. You just discovered Accutron.
Well, and what's funny about that is when a lot of and the Accutron stuff came from a I believe a jewelry store website.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
when they're setting up the website, it may not show up as a link as you can navigate through the website, but it still populates in search engines.
Yes.
So if you search Bulova astronaut, new Bulova astronaut, or 2025 astronaut, it actually populates in search results. So while these people aren't directly
I saw
releasing information on it, they still you can still find it on the internet.
It's
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
I saw some of this. I saw that thread a couple weeks ago, and kind of raised.
Oh, that's right. You're active on the forums too. You're
I
kind of
miss
low
it,
key in
yeah.
there. You're kind of sly.
I might seed a little bit of things in there to see if people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
taking it. And yeah, no, but I there are some of those things that we see sometimes, and we get into discussions about them and how to mitigate the leaks on certain things.
Right.
It's not as easy as I'd like it to be at times. So
Well, but it's also like you can't get that genie back in the bottle. Like once it's out and it's digital, it's
Yeah,
forever,
yeah.
and right, it's searchable. And it was always an interesting discussion.
it's not always the worst, though. I think like sometimes you want people to talk about these things that are exciting that we have going on with the brand. So
Oh, well, come on. Well, you can't buy that kind of virality,
yeah,
which is the problem with virality. That's like how do
Mhm.
you market that? How do you manufacture that? And you kind of can't, because anytime I've seen somebody try to do that, it always falls a little bit flat
yeah.
versus something that's genuinely viral. So,
Agreed.
that's
But those haven't officially been released yet, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We all know they exist. We talked to Richard last episode. We already
I
know.
don't know. I don't know.
Everybody already knows.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
officially he has no recollection of that, Senator. Well, let's talk about what you do have recollection of. So your watch, the watch you are wearing today, is a ETA powered, Swiss manufactured Bulova Super Seville. It's a square case. It's a day date. It's got kind of not even a navy blue dial, but it's a brushed, radial brushed finish, stainless steel case, president style bracelet. What's the lug on that? 18, I think.
I believe so. Yes.
Right.
I mean, are we correct in saying that your persistence is the reason why this watch that I'm holding up right now, my new Super Seville, exists?
I wouldn't go as far as to say that. I will say that we have an amazing, well, obviously Bulova is like an amazing catalog of pieces in the heritage, and even more amazing product development team that dives into the collection of historic pieces that they draw inspiration from, even whether they're archive series pieces or even new pieces that like draw on different aspects of pieces from our archive. So I will say that there was a time when I was like, hey, look at this. I found this piece, and it's just my marketing mind. I said, look, I think that this piece is unique. It has different characteristics of different things that make it really unique. And Bulova has this precisionist movement that I thought was being underappreciated by the watch community. And I
Oh
thought that
God, yes. Oh my
Hmm.
God.
and I thought that this piece was a perfect piece for it. I thought that the story behind this piece fits it really well as also. Growing up, um, my dad was always like, "Oh, you know how you know this watch is real or fake? It doesn't tick," and then that was something that always stuck with me about like
Right. Yeah, that's always the thing. Like you the Canal Street Rolex that ticks.
yeah. So
Right.
he would always say that, and then so with that being said, the way that the precisionist movement has that smooth sweeping second hand, and I thought that it was a perfect fit. I also thought that the TB shaped case was something so unique that 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 it gave it its own character. And with that being said, I was with the company for like two months, and I was like emailing Michael like, oh, look at this piece, you should make it, not even knowing the lead times, not knowing anything. I'm sure Michael was like who is this guy?
But
um,
I gotta say though, because we know that the Super Seville has got that Rolex date just day date part of the DNA, but the square shape, I've always loved that watch. I've thought that it was a fantastic iteration. It was an evolution of it. It's like, okay, this is not a Rolex. It's drawing influences from that, and
Hmm.
now it's become something completely different.
It's a
But
great evolution
it,
of.
without exception. But then when suddenly the precisionist movement happens inside of that, because you've been on the forums, I'm on the forums, and you've got this group of very passionate precisionist enthusiasts. It's like this is a movement that's being undermarketed. This is a movement that's being underutilized. Everything about this movement, I'm like, it's not high accuracy quartz because it's not thermocompensated, blah, 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 blah. However, it's still keeping time within high accuracy. It's like it's a everything about that movement is just a win. And now all of a sudden, like it goes into the Jetstar line, it goes into the Super Seville line. It's like this is a home run, man. The size is perfect. It's because the qualm always before was that the watches were too big. Now they're in that 40 39 millimeter sweet spot. And I got to try on Mike's.
Yeah, this is 37.5. I
It's
mean,
wonderful.
it's
It's so good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
yeah, I think what I saw was an opportunity of a piece. Obviously the round vintage Super Sevilles call into a different aesthetic, but I thought that the TV shape ones had enough character on their own, and I think that from a marketing standpoint, that's how I
Yes.
looked at it. I'm always looking at things from a marketing standpoint. I'm looking at how we can amplify a story or tell something and make more people know about it, which that always doesn't what our product development team is their goals are certain things. So when I saw this piece, I thought it would serve as a wonderful vehicle for the for the precisionist movement. And
Yeah.
I think that I thought that what I saw was an ability to have a story. And I think that is what ultimately, well, a story also with a piece that people would appreciate. And that's what I kind of see in the watch. And it's not as easy as I might have thought it was in the 2 months when I was there, and I said that there's a whole lot more that goes into those things that our product development team, Donnell was on the show. He'll tell you,
Hmm.
John
Yeah.
Hugger, Big John Hug Dog, as I like to call him. Like, and our conversations on these things. But if anything, I say like I'm appreciative for them for letting me bug them and tell them my thoughts of things from a marketing standpoint, from as someone who's always combing the forums and reading the message boards and the Reddit threads of what people are saying. And I think that the lead times, but the voices of the people there are like, if there's anything I'm doing, I'm speaking for them and kind of giving them a voice in the office as well. And I think we'll see in the course of this next year and further a lot of that coming through product.
So what you're saying is that I need to start posting more on the forums.
No,
That's what you're saying.
I know you guys.
But
I know enough. I know your writing style. I know you post. You guys can't hide yourself. You guys post.
All right. All right.
but what's cool is you have kind of a cheat sheet when it comes to your job because you're in the forums, you're on the socials, you're in tune to what people like, what people are asking for, what people are looking for. You can bring that into suggestions and meetings and things and say, hey, this is what people are talking about. This is the next latest thing. This is what's hot right now. This is what they're asking for. And then if it goes into production, you already have the leg up of, okay, well, now I know how to market this. Now I know who to market it to.
Yeah, here it is.
It's a great
Yeah, but I don't know if
springboard
that's
for you to be able to do like that type of marketing for a product that you already know what people want.
No, it definitely helps, and I don't know if it's necessarily a cheat sheet, but it's like I think that's part of like the the job. I think that that it's important to be in tune with that. You know, if I was if it were, you know, if I were marketing pens, perhaps like I'd be on a forum about pens. I don't know, like I'd be in that space. I want to know what people care about there. If it's sneakers, you know, like that's I find where they're talking about it to hear more about it. And I think it's important to do. I think, like I said before, that gives that level of authenticity so that I can figure out the stories that are going to resonate and people will care about.
We've had a discussion about this before, and like weigh in on this. Like, do you have an opinion about the soul of a watch and whether quartz or mechanical makes an impression, makes a difference?
So I do. I think there is there is something about the soul of a watch, but and what the movement is. But what I have come to really have an appreciation for is the proprietary movements that we're using in things like the super spill, the precisionist movement, which is proprietary to Bulova, the NM20 that's in the lunar pilot on MP20 that's in the lunar pilot.
NP20, yeah.
20, sorry. And even the curve, the curve
Yeah.
especially as well. When you look at those and you have watches that are made with these movements, if we're talking about as you described, like the soul of the watch and the movement, these make these watches more special and more unique than if you were to put a essentially an automatic movement that anybody could use.
Yeah.
And I'll agree with that wholeheartedly. And you have your mechanical movement or your quartz movement, and there's very little in between when it comes to sides, you know.
Right.
And when the Jetstars come out, when these came out with the precisionist in it, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I wish it was mechanical. Why'd they have to make it quartz? And there are a lot of people who are like, no, 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 no. It's the precisionist. It's so much more than just being a quartz. It's a quartz with soul, right? It's so much more special because it's precisionist.
It's that too, but it's also this idea that's like, okay, oh, it needs to be mechanical. It's like, yeah, but do you know what the accuracy of that is? I mean, honestly,
I'll get into something else too. Like I'll get into another point is, and if it's an automatic movement, there's a certain cost that the watch is going to be. There's a certain price point that it's going to be at.
Right.
And I don't know that once you get to that price point, if it makes it a better value proposition than what you get when it has a proprietary movement on it and we're able to offer it at the price point we're offering it at now.
Oh, you get so much more value with this.
So I think that's you know, people look to say like you'd sell so many more if it was this, but you know, then you start talking about a different price point, and then you start raising you start asking a ticket price to go someplace, and people that tell you they'd be there.
That's exactly it. And
they start acting a little funny.
When people were screaming for mechanical lunar pilot, and we brought this up when Michael was on one time, and I said, you know what? I said, make a mechanical lunar pilot. It's going to be a $5,000 watch, and then everybody that's been crying for one isn't going to want to put out.
They won't buy it. They won't buy a $5,000.
Yeah, I think they'll be kind of hard to find, but I mean, I think at some point in the same way, like I love a mechanical lunar pilot. I just also think that there's a great place to appreciate the 262 kilohertz lunar pilot as well. That's
I don't disagree with you in that in the slightest. The other thing that we've discussed, and we've discussed this probably more ad nauseum than we probably should, is the fact that, like, okay, what's the heritage of the watch? Where did this watch come from? If it's a quartz watch that my father owned, there's a soul there. That watch has now picked up and imbued, and I give that watch to my son. There's a whole different aspect that goes along with that timepiece. The only quibble I have with the precisionist is in 40 years, with the precisionist that I still have, will I be able to get those fixed? And the hope is yes. The hope is that there will be something that I can put into that so that I can keep that watch running and that it'll be for generations to come. That's my only kicker on those watches, because the mechanicals, you see watches from the 1800s and you can still machine the parts, and if you're a competent watchmaker, you can recreate the parts for that. The quartz watches, it's different and it's harder to do because the movements are not exactly disposable, but they're meant to be swapped wholesale.
right.
And so that, like, looking at it from I think that's part of the argument from the enthusiast standpoint. It's like, okay, I know I have vintage watches. I know I have watches that are 70, 100 years old. What do I do with this one in 100 years? And
That's an interesting perspective on it, though. That is, I'll have to think about that when it comes to.
well, but it's also the kind of thing that, because the watches that were built 100 years ago, I've got a Bulova from 1923 that I gave to my wife, and it's gorgeous. It's a Miss Liberty with the green emeralds and this beautiful expansion bracelet. Dude, like, nobody even makes anything like it anymore. Like, the technology that's going into that watch, unheard of today.
Right.
They didn't design it thinking that somebody in 100 years is going to want to fix this watch.
Right.
And so that's part of the design standpoint that would be an interesting conversation to have, let alone the marketing standpoint. It's like, you can fix this watch in 100 years. That's a hard sell.
Well, I guess wrapping it up, is there anything you wanted to talk about specifically before we let you go?
Any hints you want to drop about upcoming releases?
You already know he doesn't know what's going on.
I know he knows
he doesn't
exactly
know.
what's going on. He just won't tell us what's going on, and I respect that. But
Officially, he doesn't know. Remember? Officially, he doesn't know.
Officially, correct.
Gosh, there's those. I'm not answering any more questions about them.
TJ has listened to the show enough to know about Patty's Monday morning meetings.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
What did you guys say this time?
What did you?
There's a lot of exciting things, and that's all I'm saying.
Damn it, TJ. All right. We're going to stop recording and I'm going to grill you.
Off the record.
Off the record.
So, last call, Joe, you got anything?
No, I have nothing. I have nothing to say.
I've got nothing. TJ, last calls, anything that you want to bring up, plug, talk about?
No, I really appreciate you guys having me and enjoyed chatting with you guys this afternoon, and look forward to you guys continuing to spread the news of Bulova through everywhere you guys post.
This has been a lot of fun, TJ. This has been a long time coming. We go back and forth on the socials. All three of us here on screen, and I know we bug you a lot for trying to get different samples and stuff in and reviewing, and you got a lot going on, especially this year. So, but if you feel like sending anything our way, we'd be glad to look at it and review it and all that. But this has been a lot of fun. You're real cool.
We'll send you a list,
guy. But thank you for taking some time out of your Sunday afternoon and being here with us, and we look forward for working with you guys more in the future and everything that's coming, especially for the 150th, there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon, and we've been talking about it for a while, but there really is. I mean, stay tuned. Some real exciting stuff coming. So
you will like it. It will be good.
Yep. Well, Joe,
how do we get in touch, Mike?
Well, today, Joe, TJ, and myself, we make up the Spring Bar Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the Spring Bar Podcast. You can email us, the springbarpodcast@gmail.com. On a personal level, I am 120 clicks, all spelled out, one long word, 120 clicks. Joe?
I am Watch Taylor Youth, EUPH. Youth. TJ, who are you?
I am Terrell, TORREL. No junior. Yes.
No junior.
That's what the J
At
is for.
Terrell.
That's what the J is for.
Perfect.
All right. Well, until next time, TJ, you're more than welcome back anytime you want to come on and talk about something. And if you're excited about anything, or you just want to hang out again for a couple drinks and some watch talk, you're more than welcome to come back. But until then, cheers.
Cheers. With my empty glass.